Microtransactions, whether you love them or think that they're the worst thing that's ever happened to gaming, they are certainly one of the most controversial topics in the gaming industry currently. Often abbreviated as MTX, microtransactions are virtual goods that you can purchase in video games, and you'd be surprised that this has actually been around for a long time. In the early 90s, there was an arcade game called Double Dragon 3: The Rosetta Stone, and this game actually had an item shop that you could purchase items from in between rounds. You would just need to put in extra quarters, and then you'd use these quarters to buy power-ups, HP, mana, things along those lines. And I was very surprised to find out that pay to win has been around for so long. Microtransactions began getting increasingly popular amongst mobile games, with large amounts of companies switching to a free-to-play with MTX options. Some of the larger games that are great examples of this are going to be League of Legends, Apex, Fortnite, games that are free to play but have a large variety of different cosmetics, skins, emotes, voice lines that you can purchase to make the gameplay a little bit more enjoyable. Slowly but surely, we've been seeing this spread to so many other games in a variety of different styles that we're going to go over later in this video. While microtransactions were a thing in the early 2000s in video games, things really began blowing up with the release of the infamous Oblivion Horse Armor DLC. Priced at a whopping $2.5, there was a major outcry from fans of the game, seemingly mind blown at the idea of spending $2.5 for something that was purely cosmetic. However, regardless of what it seemed and the major outcry, this horse armor actually was one of the most popular add-ons for the Oblivion game, and showed many companies that this was a very viable option going forward for additional revenue. One great example of microtransactions in games today is going to be the Lootbox. The Lootbox is one of the more controversial items out there. Similar to opening a pack of your favorite TCG, it's up to the luck of the draw, and just like most packs of cards from, say, Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, you are more than likely going to get some garbage, and the majority of the time a lot of garbage before you get anything that's worthwhile. However, eventually you will get something good, and this kind of preys on that sunk cost fallacy. Some of the best examples and worst examples are going to be FIFA, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Apex, and CSGO, otherly known as Counter-Strike. As you may be able to tell, EA was one of the larger adopters of this loot box meta, and they also have been getting a ton of flack for this loot box meta, because in comparison to some of the other games where maybe you'll get things occasionally and they don't actually impact the game, they're purely cosmetic, FIFA's loot boxes are extremely important if you want to play online. You're almost forced into buying these packs of cards so that you can get the correct players and have that star power to make sure you're able to actually win games. There's instances of pros basically saying that you have to put in thousands of dollars if you want to stay relevant with the meta of the online play. Similarly, with Star Wars Battlefront 2, when the game was released with a loot box, it was proven that you would have to put in significantly long hours to unlock the same things that you could just buy through these loot boxes. However, the loot box being very low RNG that you're able to get anything good, you'd have to put in a significant amount of money to actually unlock the things you were looking for. The negative was also that you could purchase these loot boxes and they gave you power-ups in-game that directly impacted how strong you were. So EA does not have a very good rep in regards to loot boxes. Loot boxes have also gotten a lot of negative press, especially as of late, with many countries looking very closely at how loot boxes relate to gambling and are possibly having a negative impact on the youth of these countries. Unlike FIFA and Star Wars Battlefront, the majority of loot boxes generally contain purely cosmetics like character skins, gun skins, emotes, etc., things like that. There are, however, other instances where these cosmetics actually do give players an advantage. The biggest place that you see this is generally in battle royales, because being able to blend in with your environment is generally very helpful, lets you stay alive a long time. And one of the most infamous of these cosmetics was the Boundless Skin bundle in Fortnite. This skin let you make your character fully black or white, or any other combination of colors for that matter, which was very helpful for players trying to blend in with the background. This was eventually patched and you were unable to do that, but it was still a large amount of time where you had the competitive edge for purchasing microtransactions. When skins are readily available at level 1 for $20 that look significantly better than skins that some players have put large amounts of their time into, you begin to wonder if the grind is really worth it when you can actually just purchase a skin that looks just as good right when you start playing the game.
Imagine if there was an achievement for looting 1 million gold or obtaining 9 million gold. And if you obtained 9 million gold, you would be able to get Hogris. If you ever saw somebody on Hogris then, you would know they probably looked like that in real life too. And now it just means that they spent fucking $25. It's boring. So I don't like that at all.
Blizzard store mounts are a great example of this. I won't go into it too in depth. You can go ahead and go watch one of the many videos of Asmongold or Bellular explaining the difference between store mounts versus the mounts that are released with each expansion. The quicker TLDR version is that the store mounts are generally very unique, with very unique models that are significantly more detailed than the majority of skins that are released during the expansions, which are generally just recolors and reskins of older models. Another thing that I don't have a ton of detail on is how you can purchase these store mounts and that actually counts towards achievements. This makes you wonder if those achievements are really as exciting and significant as they used to be when they can actually be impacted with real-world money. This also brings up the topic of the WoW token, but that is a whole nother can of worms that we'll get into at another time. The Battle Pass is another popular iteration of microtransactions. It includes several tiers of progress where you unlock in-game cosmetics and emotes, as well as in-game currency by playing the game. With loot boxes becoming increasingly controversial, the Battle Pass was a much safer avenue for revenue through microtransactions. Usually, there is enough of the in-game currency that you use to purchase the Battle Pass within the Battle Pass so that you can purchase the next one, but generally this is really aimed at getting you to purchase items in the store that you might like with that currency. This obviously impacts your ability to purchase the next Battle Pass, and therefore you're going to have to put more money into the game to buy that Battle Pass the next time it releases. Some games do have free versions of Battle Passes, just with much less enticing rewards, like Fortnite and Apex. I will say that most games, however, do still track your Battle Pass progress regardless of if you purchased it, so that if you do have that extra $20 or just feel like you want to get some of the skins in there, you can purchase it at any time and they will allow you to get all of those skins that you have already leveled up through. Some of the games with popular Battle Passes includes Valorant, Apex, Fortnite, as well as Dota 2. Battle Passes in itself are not absolutely terrible. I believe they give access to skins to players that might not be able to purchase those very big ticket items in the store. The main issue with Battle Passes is that they are a little predatory towards forcing you to put in that time to grind the Battle Pass, as well as the fact that 95% of the items generally in the Battle Pass are not that great. It also, in my personal opinion, appeals to FOMO, which is fear of missing out, where players are seeing tons of players with these other skins, they all have the same skin lines and things like that, and it really makes you want to purchase it. Then, when you do purchase the Battle Pass, you don't think they're as unique because everyone has them. This leads you to purchase more items in the store. You can see this might lead to a very slippery slope. Lastly, I wanted to go over to possibly one of the worst instances of microtransactions completely taking over a game, and that is going to be in Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal is the current grand prize winner of worst ever score on Metacritic, and without going into an insane amount of detail, Diablo Immortal is probably one of the most heavily monetized games out currently. If you want a more in-depth look on how heavily monetized the game is, there are a ton of great videos out there, specifically from creators like Zizarin, Asmongold, The Actman, Bellular. They all have way more insight on this game than I would, and they do a great job going over the exact things that are absolutely bonkers about Diablo Immortal. Just to give you a quick update, for example, we have numbers ranging from $100,000 to $1 million to fully max out your characters in that game. There is even a player, his name is JT is All Business, that has put in so much money and won so many battlegrounds that he is unable to queue into a battleground anymore because his MMR is so much higher than anyone else. He has absolutely no one to play against.
So basically for the last month and a half, anytime I go to the Battleground Captain and I click find match, I have not been able to get a queue for the full 2-hour length of the Battlegrounds, right? 0 queues, no matter how long I've queued up, and this has now been ongoing for a month and a half.
Imagine putting $100,000 into something and not even getting to play the game. I'm not going to go into, oh, whales are terrible, you know, they ruin the games, blah, blah, blah. They could do whatever they want with their money, but it's still a problem when you can invest so much money into this game and you are absolutely just prevented from playing the game itself. There's a lot more that we can go over, and I'm sure you guys have some great instances of where you think microtransactions are negatively or positively impacting the video game industry, but then we'd probably be here all day. So if you guys have any ideas on what you think could make microtransactions better, if you think we need to take them out, if whales are the bane of your existence and are absolutely ruining the games for you, let me know down below. And if you like this style of content, it's something that I'm really looking into doing more of because I'm just generally interested in video games. So let me know down below. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you stayed for this long. And as always, guys, thank you very much.